As I'm sure most of you know, a lot of first-person shooters tend to come and go as time passes. In fact, it's extremely rare a shooter stays relevant for more than 10 years. There's always been one exception to this rule, none other than Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 officially released on October 10th, 2007, and to this day still averages tens of thousands of players monthly. Some months still even manage to obtain 100,000 monthly players, an unheard of feat for most games of the same age. For example, RuneScape is 6 years older but usually doesn't average much more than 10,000 players a month. I wonder sometimes if TF2 is destined for the same fate. I mean, the game is barely younger than I am, and it is slowly bleeding players. In 6 years, will TF2 be at the same spot RuneScape is? My answer is no, I don't think it is. TF2 has a lot of things going for it, but unfortunately just as many things working against it. Update scarcity and the bot problem are the two most major issues, which I will touch on later in the video. There are a lot of reasons this game is so beloved. The ridiculous setting, the fact that it's completely free to play, the fact that this game can run on basically anything, like I used to play this game on a $150 PC we bought from Walmart and it actually ran like a charm. The first, and in my opinion, most notable reason TF2 has survived as long as it has without a doubt is its community. At this point, the game is basically ran by the community, as the main servers are plagued with bots who make the game essentially unplayable. There's a running joke in the TF2 community that the dev team for TF2 consists of a janitor and a plan, and with how long it's been since the last major update, I wouldn't be surprised if it's even smaller than that. The community does make up for this deficit, however. Many game modes have been invented by the community and are upheld even better than the official Valve servers. For example, my favorite of the community game modes is Freak Fortress 2, which is essentially a game mode where one player plays as a boss with special abilities and an insane amount of HP, and every other player plays as the classic TF2 characters with the objective of killing the boss. The game mode is still well maintained years after its release, which is a great testament to how dedicated the community is. The community doesn't just run fan-made game modes though, they actually run the original game modes much better than Valve does. Speaking of which, this is a great time to touch on the official TF2 TF2 has 10 official game modes in total, with each one having its own unique mechanic. For the sake of time, we'll just talk about my favorite game mode, Capture the Flag. It's more like Capture the Briefcase because that's what you're actually stealing, but in essence it's the same thing as Capture the Flag. Two teams, red and blue, face off against each other to steal the other team's intelligence, which is the briefcase. The first team to 3 captures wins. The main difference between this game mode and other game modes is that there's no real time limit, which means each match can go on pretty much indefinitely. If you want a chill game mode where you can do stupid things with your friends, then this one is for you. All the other game modes can be summed up by their names. For example, in Control Point, you capture control points from the defending team, with the objective being to capture all points. The characters are another aspect of TF2 that makes this game so enjoyable. Every single character is filled with personality, funny lines, and hundreds of cosmetics to be customized with. I'll give you a brief overview of each character's personality and gameplay, in the order they appear in the game. Scout is fast and annoying. He's like the assassin of the game. He can use items like the Atomic Punch to become completely immune to damage for a short time, at the cost of not being able to fire his weapons. His gameplay matches his personality. Hailing from Boston, the Scout's egotistical and forthcoming personality is always something to marvel at. If you like moving fast and being annoying, then the Scout is for you. The Soldier is beefy and patriotic, and he can fill both a DPS and a support role, using his wide array of rocket launchers and his different horns to boost his teammates' damage, speed, or health. The Soldier is also where the origin of the rocket jump comes from, that is, shooting a rocket at your feet to launch yourself into the air. His personality is a caricature of the American patriot in the 60s and 70s, incredibly stupid and willing to die for his country. If you love America, flying across the map and blowing things up, then the Soldier is for you. The Pyro doesn't talk. That's his thing. The name is fitting because he uses flamethrowers. This is my personal main because he's easy to learn but has a lot of high skill ceiling techniques due to his unique air blast mechanic. Air blasting essentially reflects projectiles like rockets and grenades back at the user. It can also knock people up into the air. If you like fire, then the Pyro is for you. The Demoman is a drunk Scottish demolition expert. He uses grenades that he launches out of a grenade launcher in a literal beer bottle to blow up and or bludgeon enemies. The Demoman is unique because of his subclass, the Demonite. The Demoman can equip powerful melee weapons and shields which allow him to charge into battle and decapitate enemies. If you want to blow up stuff and play God's drunkest demolition expert, the Demoman is for you. The Heavy is a Russian menace, basically the tank of TF2. Using his wide array of miniguns, the Heavy can dish out as much damage as he can take. The Heavy is also one of the few classes that can heal without medpacks, with his trusty sandwich, that he can either eat himself or throw at a teammate to heal. If you like playing tanks, miniguns, Russia, or bi-curious characters, then the Heavy is for you. The Engineer hails from the great state of Texas, and he specializes in one thing, building defenses. The engineer can build 3 things: sentries, dispensers, and teleporters. The sentry is exactly what it sounds like, a very strong automatic gun that can shred through most enemies. The dispensers dispense both health and ammo to allies, and the teleporter can teleport teammates to important locations or flanks. The engineer is limited to 1 of each building, but you can have more than 1 engineer on your team. If you like a laid-back, more defensive playstyle, then the engineer is for you. The medic is your stereotypical crazy doctor and the counterpart to the heavy. He heals his teammates using a wide array of mediguns. The unique mechanic with mediguns is the Uber charge, which does a wide variety of things. With the stock medigun, the medic causes himself and whoever he's healing to become invulnerable for a short time. With the Kritzkrieg, all attacks become critical hits. If you like playing the healer, then the medic is for you. The sniper is everyone's favorite Australian. He's actually from New Zealand, but that's a story for another day. Yes, his name is exactly what he does. He snipes people. He can also cover people in his own piss, which makes them take more damage from all sources. So if either of those things tickle your fancy, then the sniper is for you. The Spy is the final class in the TF2 roster, and I also consider the Spy to be the most unique. Your stereotypical Frenchman, and the Spy does one thing best: sneak around. Using his knife, the Spy has the unique ability of being able to instantly kill anybody with the infamous backstab. He can also go invisible using his wide array of invisibility watches. He can also use his Sapper, which disables the engineer's buildings and can even destroy them if the engineer doesn't break the Sapper in time. I also believe the Spy is the hardest class in the game, with tons of combos and nuances to it. If you want a high skill cap class that can one-shot any class at will, then the Spy is for you. I hate to cut this video short, but for time's sake, I'm going to stop here now in this video. Rest assured, the next part will come out eventually.